The community center was shrouded in a veil of sadness. The air hung heavy with unspoken grief. People sat slumped, their faces etched with worry. Children huddled together, their eyes downcast. No laughter echoed in the halls. There was only a deafening silence, a testament to their shared sorrow. Then Mr. Happiness arrived. No one knew where he came from or how he appeared. He simply materialized, a beacon of hope in their midst. He was an enigma, a man cloaked in an aura of quiet joy. His eyes shone with an inner light, a radiance that seemed to pierce the darkness. His presence was like a gentle breeze whispering through a parched land. He didn't utter a word, but his very being spoke volumes. There was a quiet strength about him, a resilience that defied the overwhelming despair. His arrival was a silent promise, a whisper of hope that maybe, just maybe, things could get better. Mr. Happiness began to move. His movements were fluid, graceful, almost ethereal. He swayed and twirled, his limbs painting stories in the air. It was a dance, but unlike any they had ever seen. It was a silent symphony, a language of the soul. He extended his hand towards a young girl, her face stained with tears. She hesitated, then slowly took his hand. He led her in a simple waltz, his steps light and gentle. Her tears subsided, replaced by a flicker of curiosity in her eyes. Others watched, captivated by the silent exchange. His dance was infectious. One by one, people rose from their seats, drawn in by the rhythm of his movements. They joined him, their bodies swaying awkwardly at first, then gradually finding their own rhythm. There were no instructions, no spoken words, only the universal language of movement and emotion. The community center was transformed. Laughter filled the air, replacing the silence that had reigned for so long. Faces once etched with sorrow now bloomed with smiles. The room pulsed with energy, a vibrant tapestry of movement and joy. Mr. Happiness was at the heart of it all, a conductor leading an orchestra of emotions. He danced with the elderly, their faces crinkling with delight. He whirled with the children, their laughter echoing through the halls. He moved among them, a silent conduit of joy. His dance was a balm to their wounded spirits. It reminded them of the beauty that still existed in the world, the simple joy of movement and connection. It was a celebration of life, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. In his silent dance, they found solace, they found hope, they found themselves. As the day wore on, the dance took on a life of its own. People moved freely, expressing their emotions through the rhythm of their bodies. There were moments of quiet contemplation, where individuals swayed gently, lost in their own thoughts. There were bursts of joyous laughter as groups whirled and stomped, their movements a celebration of shared joy. Mr. Happiness was a constant presence, a guiding light in their midst. He didn't lead, but rather encouraged, gently nudging them to find their own expression. He was a mirror, reflecting their own emotions back to them, amplified and transformed into something beautiful. His silence was a powerful tool. It stripped away the barriers of language, allowing them to connect on a deeper level. It invited them to listen to their own hearts, to find their own voice in the language of movement. It was a reminder that sometimes words were not enough. Sometimes, all it took was a simple dance to heal the soul. As the sun began to set, a sense of peace settled over the community center. The dance had slowed, the laughter subsided, but a lightness lingered in the air. People sat together, their faces glowing with a newfound serenity. The silence was no longer heavy, but rather a comfortable stillness, a shared moment of reflection. Mr. Happiness stood in the center of the room, his eyes radiating a quiet joy. He bowed his head in gratitude, then slowly faded from view. He was gone as suddenly as he had arrived, leaving behind a profound sense of peace and hope. The echoes of his dance lingered in their hearts. They carried with them the memory of his gentle touch, the warmth of his smile, the silent symphony of his movements. They had been touched by something magical, something that transcended words. They had been reminded of the power of love and positivity, the simple joy of being alive. The community center was never quite the same. The sadness that had once cloaked the halls had lifted, replaced by a sense of hope and resilience. People carried within them the memory of Mr. Happiness, his silent dance a beacon of light in their lives. They continued to dance, their movements now infused with a newfound grace and joy. They reached out to each other, their hearts open to connection. They laughed more freely, loved more deeply, lived more fully. The legacy of Mr. Happiness lived on, a testament to the transformative power of silent communication. His visit was a reminder that even in the darkest of times there is always hope. There is always the possibility of transformation, of finding joy in the simplest of things. There is always the power of love to heal and to unite, a power that transcends words and speaks directly to the soul.